Hey everybody, and welcome back to this mess. Today's video is sponsored by insomnia and a little bit of intrusive thought. So yeah, let's dive right into the video. I know I usually post once a week. I'm pretty sure I'm over my 1 week mark. Apologies, it's been crazy on my end. But yeah, here I am, ready to go. And by the way, if you watch this as like a step-by-step on how to play this game, which was what I was hoping to intend this as being, because like I know like how to play Spongebob Rehydrated by heart, and I was thinking, I got this in the bag. Like I can do all of this playthrough for the first time with you guys, and also use it as a like step-by-step how to like master the game. I was wrong. So yeah, if you're watching this, you will get through the game, but you'll probably make every mistake that I make by using my video as an example. If you're just here to listen to me gab and watch the playthrough, totally cool. I actually have some stories that I wanted to tell today that I thought y'all might want to listen to. Maybe, I don't know, but we'll see. So anyway, yeah. So this is a story that happened to me as a teenager. And how we all know as teens, the last thing that we want is to be embarrassed in public. At least that's how I was. It was one of my biggest fears. I've got two different stories, but anyway, the first one that we're gonna go with is about, I want to say 15. I was about 15, and it was Thanksgiving. We had a family friend who'd been a longtime family friend, a friend of my uncle's, and he was having Thanksgiving dinner with us because he didn't have anybody to have Thanksgiving dinner with. And he had a bad habit of being kind of like rude in a joking way, like the sarcastic assholes that are like trying to be funny, but it's really just fucking hurtful. He's one of those. Yeah. So, I mean, good guy, other than that, I guess, but like his jokes weren't funny unless you weren't the one he was pointing them at. They were mainly just like, they hurt. I still remember, it's burned into my brain. I've had a lot of people in my life make fun of me. If you don't know, I used to be only 110 pounds. I had a thyroid condition that went undiagnosed for years. Go figure how that never was caught. But I got made fun of for being skinny. So listen, I've heard a lot of jokes. I also have a dimple in my chin, so I've been called "Hey Butt Chin" a lot throughout my life, which, yeah, way to just knock my self-confidence down from day one of being born. So like I thought I'd heard everything, but this family friend, let's call him Kevin for the story. This family friend Kevin is bantering back and forth at Thanksgiving dinner, and he's like making his jokes that are really hurtful, and my dumb ass 15-year-old self thinks that I can take on this challenge, and I fire a remark at him which was pretty much along the lines of, well, at least I have an excuse for being single. I'm only 15. And without missing a beat, after I had got done, like, we were having like small talk around the table about our favorite like television shows, and they I think it was my grandma was saying how much like she loves watching Frasier, which if you've never watched the show Frasier, please, when you're like up at 4 a.m. in a depressive spiral eating ice cream out of the actual ice cream container, just please, like, spend the money for one episode, if you have the money, if you can afford to, for one episode of Frasier. I'm pretty sure you can watch it on Peacock too. If you have that subscription, then you're already good. Please give it one chance. Like the first episode. If you hate it, then you'll never like it. If you love it, welcome to my life. she brought up the show, and I immediately was like, yes, I love Frasier too, and my favorite character is Niles Crane. And he fires back without a moment's notice. Well, that makes sense, you look like him. My self-confidence, if you don't know who Niles Crane is or what he looks like, here's a picture of Niles Crane. So, I was devastated because he wasn't wrong. Niles and I share very similar facial features, especially the butt chin, and it doesn't help that I am naturally blonde. And yeah, my self-esteem went down. Like, now as an adult, if anyone told me that I reminded them of Niles Crane, I would literally, like, give them an award, because I'm not as self-conscious about, like, how I am perceived by other people now, because I'm a mom. Like, there have been things, the grossest things that happen when you're a mom, and you will, like, look disgusting some days walking into a public area because of dealing with your child, and you will not care. Like, you will not care. You're that exhausted, you're that overwhelmed, like, you're not gonna care. So I have reached that point where it's like, oh my god, I actually don't give a fuck. But at the time, it was devastating to me. Because yes, I love Niles, but like the fact that basically he was calling me a man, which there's nothing wrong with being more masculine presenting, but it hurt a lot because that's not how I wanted to be perceived physically. Now, personality-wise, oh my god. I wish I was on the comedy tier that Niles exists in, but I am not. I would love to insert clips from the show Frasier, but I'm pretty sure that's a copyright infringement using it without clearing permission. I'm pretty sure even if I could get a hold of whoever is responsible for the show now, it was made years ago, guys. Like, I'm pretty sure it was the 90s to early 2000s that Frasier ran, because the show that originally sparked Frasier was the show Cheers. If you haven't heard of Cheers, go talk to your grandpa and ask if he ever watched the show Cheers. I'm pretty sure someone in your family who is of the older generation knows what Cheers is. But I'm assuming, God, I love how I'm assuming my audience is all people my age or younger. Y'all, I am embarrassed. If y'all are older than me, please, I am not talking to you. So I have no idea, like, what age range my audience is, because it's very small, and I don't know you guys, because I don't really get a lot of comments on my videos, which is understandable considering I'm just starting out, and I know my stuff is, like, super niche, and, like, it's not great yet. I know my content it needs work, and it's getting there slowly. Y'all are very patient with me, so thank you. But the point is, anyway, to get off of that tangent, but yeah, so, with the whole thing that was embarrassing me with Niles Crane, and the whole thing with, like, Frasier is a show that came after Cheers, because I guess the character from Cheers got his own show, basically, is great. But anyway, enough about Frasier. Go watch it if you get a chance. Other than that, the second most embarrassing thing that happened to me as a teen, it was when I was younger. So not 15, I was more like 13. There was this boy that used to hang out. Like, okay, you gotta understand. First of all, I was homeschooled, and I was Catholic, and I was raised by my grandparents. I had the Holy Trinity. I know, bad joke. I had the Holy Trinity of keeping me away from anyone and everything. I didn't really have any friends. And, like, my grandparents adopted me, so, like, kids are really cruel. Like, I also didn't want to hang around other kids even if I had the chance, because why the hell is it the first thing kids ask you? Where's your parents? Who are your parents? Like, the hell? I don't know about you guys, but, like, I don't know. that was like all kids wanted to ask me when I was little was like, where are your parents? Who are your parents? Like, what the fuck? Why do you care? And now as an adult, I'm weirded out by that because I realized that was the majority of my interactions with other kids is they didn't even want to play. They just asked me that question if they didn't see, what looks like my mom and dad in the vicinity. They're like, where are your parents? Who are your parents? What do they do? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm not going to, like, traumatize you guys and say why my grandparents adopted me because y'all probably got your own baggage. Like, if you're following me and you enjoy my content, y'all probably have enough on your shoulders because I'm a very special brand of crazy to enjoy. And, anyway. So, like, with that whole thing, there was this boy that I had a crush on. And he was the only boy I knew. Okay? I was not allowed to date. Like, I did not date until I was in college. I also did not have a cell phone until I was in college. I also didn't have a car until after I left college. There was no, like, fund set up for me, to get a vehicle, so I couldn't get a job without a vehicle. And, like, my grandmother had a car, but she was very, like, territorial about if I drove it, she had to be with me, because she was convinced I was gonna, like, go out and, like, do some stuff with people, but I was insane because I didn't even have any friends, so, like, oh my god, it was just crazy. But, like, this kid was the only boy I knew, so please don't judge me too harshly. Like, think of the newer, like, version of Rapunzel, Tangled. That version of Rapunzel. If you're like, what other version is there? Well, I mean, obviously there's the original story, and then there's what I grew up with, which was Barbie as Rapunzel. That was my Rapunzel as a kid. The Tangled movie came out after I was more grown up. So anyway, point is, I was like her, very sheltered. I've been told a lot of things, and like, I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things. I really had no access to the outside world. So I'd known this boy since we were like kids, like real little kids. His family had started bringing him over to get writing lessons from my grandfather, and he just kept coming over, and like, I needed that friendship. But because I entered like the puberty stage, hormones are what they are, and I developed a crush on this boy because he was the only kid my age I knew. Like, for real, except for a kind of friend of mine from church, but like, that was a whole other thing. I know, I'm bad at stories. I go on a million tangents. I'm sorry. You signed up for this by subscribing, so please don't hate me. But I had a little, like, diary, and I wrote my initials and his initials. Let's call him John. I wrote mine and John's initials, and I never thought he would find it because I put it in, like, those pockets of the doors in the back, like, in trucks. Like, you could put, like, magazines, or honestly, like, half of us have, like, old McDonald's wrappers in them. I put it in one of those little holders in the door. And it was just a little diary. I thought, he'll never find that. Because he was always over at our house. And my grandmother was nosy. Like, she always read all my diaries. I just quit writing in diaries, honestly, because she was so nosy and she'd confront me about them. So I kept it in our truck because I knew it was the only place she wouldn't look. And I thank gods I didn't actually, like, write paragraphs about this boy. I just wrote the initials. But here's the problem. I didn't anticipate him needing a ride one day back to his family's house. They were supposed to come pick him up, and we were like, guys, we were like 13, 14, like, we were kids. He could not drive his own vehicle yet, okay? So if you're like, why can he drive himself? That's why. But they didn't live too far away at the time. They actually didn't live far at all. So they were like, yeah, we'll take him home. So my grandma sends my grandpa to drive him home, and I'm in the back seat with him. Why and how he got curious and was fiddling with the little, like, holder in the door, I don't actually know anymore. But somehow he found the diary and he found the initials. And to this day, I don't know what he said because I couldn't hear him over the truck. I think it was he was just asking what it was, but I remember I felt all the blood drain out of my face, and it felt like everything was in slow motion. And because I don't know, probably wasn't. By the way, this John thought of me as a little sister. Like, he literally had said multiple times I was like a little sister to him. And I tried my best to keep up the I'm just your buddy act. And I was lonely. I was so lonely. And I froze. And I think he could tell that I was upset and scared. And I'll give it to him. He saved my ass, because if my family, my grandmother specifically, had found out that I had a crush on him, because she had this weird habit of accusing me of trying to like be boy crazy, and I didn't even know any people. Like, I wasn't allowed to date. I had no friends outside of church because of the circumstances in which I was raised. So it was insane. But I knew that if she found out that I had a crush on him, he would never have been allowed to come over again. And he quietly closed the diary, put it back on the door, and I shit you not, he never brought it up. Not once. Never brought it up, never made a big deal of it, didn't talk about it ever again. And I, love that he did that, because he could have, if he wanted to, he could have gotten me in serious trouble. Like, I would not have been allowed to just basically have any friends whatsoever if that had been found out, and I would have been mortified. I don't think I ever would have lived it down. To this day, it still is one of the most embarrassing things that ever happened to me as a teenager, because, that is, your worst fear as a teen. One of them is your crush finding out you have a crush on them. At least for me, it was. A lot of people I knew when I was a teenager, in church circles, we were all afraid of, anyone we liked finding out we liked them, because it wasn't only that, they probably might not like us back, but there was a stigma in the Catholic Church, at least where I grew up, about having crushes as teens. It was made to feel like it was wrong and sinful to like someone as a teen, because we were told that it was unnatural to pursue that urge of liking someone when you're not old enough to get married. So yeah, I had to suppress a lot of feelings and pretend like I wasn't interested in boys and girls. I'm bisexual. That took a long time to figure out. So those are my two embarrassing stories. But yeah. yeah. Lots of fun, guys. Anyway, I am sorry if you're like, Jesus Christ, that was a lot of rambling for a very short story that it could have been. I apologize. But anyway, yes, so we are doing the damn thing with SpongeBob and the Cosmic Shake. I wanted to say rehydrated. I am so sorry. I'm literally sitting in my closet at 1 a.m. recording because I'm full-time mom, and why did I say full-time? Anyone who's a mom is a mom. I'm a mom to a toddler. I run a small business, and I also am in charge of the house and everything else that goes on and blah blah blah. We've got pets, we've got a toddler, I got my husband. The house is loud as hell most of the time. And so if you're ever criticizing your mom friend who's up late at night when they need to be sleeping, please don't be too hard on them. For a lot of us, this is the only time where it is dead silent, is when everyone else is asleep and it's it's like a little treat, like, ooh, me time. For me, it's not so much a treat, it's like, what did I not get done today that I really needed to get done that's going to get done right now? Like, there's a book that I've been trying desperately to read because when I had my daughter, I quit reading. Like, because either she would be screaming, crying, you know, whatever, or as she got older, she would rip pages. Like, I have books that are missing pages that she's ripped. I can't sit down and read because if she sees I have a book, she has to have it or she throws a fit. And she loves books, which is I love that for her, but she loves books so much that she like tears pages of them sometimes or colors in them. And if I'm missing pages or my book is colored in, I can't read it. So I gave up for a long time and I finally started reading again, but it's like, god damn, it's like painful. Sorry if some of you're all like, I am not a parent, I can't relate to this, this is really not interesting to me. I promise I'm not going to go on for 2 hours. Anyway, this video is not going to be 2 hours. Dear God, I would lose my voice. But yeah, please don't be hard on your parent friends, like not just even mom friends, you're just parent friends in general. Like, you know, if they're up late to try to get some alone time because they've spent all day with their kids, all day working, all day taking care of everything, and this is the only time they have to breathe, then it's the only time they have to breathe. And it's sad sometimes we have to choose our mental health, like self-care, over sleep, which I know they're both kind of the same thing. But honest to God, there are some days that I really do just need a few moments of like peace and quiet to do something and not sleep. I wish I didn't have to pick and choose sometimes, but that's how it goes. That's life, I guess. But yeah. By the way, just so you know, I wanted to explain my recording process because I think I've confused some people, because it seems like people were under the impression that I record the audio as I play. That is kind of impossible because, like I said, my house is loud 24, almost 7. So I like have to record after the gameplay is done because it's, yeah, I play this on the TV, so it's not like I could bring the Xbox and the TV all the way upstairs to my bedroom closet to record, you know, live. But I think the reason why I confuse people is I talk in the present tense when I record. I will tell you why that is. The reason why when I record, it's not to deceive anyone, but quite literally when I record my audio for a voiceover for a YouTube video, even if I'm careful, I catch myself talking in the present tense because when I'm here, let me try to explain this quickly. When I am recording footage of me playing a game and I know that I'm recording it specifically so I can make a YouTube video, I don't really pay attention to the game. Like, if you came over and sat on the couch with me while I was playing this, my face would be blank, I'd be making no facial expressions. I basically autopilot a game. So I'm not even paying attention. Like, I'm just going through the motions and doing what I have to do to get through the level. Then when I've recorded enough footage, I put the game away and turn something on. And that's it. So when I am recording the audio, that is when I'm actually paying attention to the video that I made by playing the game. That is when I'm actually watching, actually paying attention. And so you're getting my reaction, you know, realistically, like, I'm actually reacting that way. But I can see why it would be misleading. I just don't know how to talk in past tense when I'm doing the voiceover, except for, like, right now, just to explain myself. Because it feels like unnatural. Like, I just run out of things to say, because then if I'm talking in the past tense, I'm like, well, the weather was nice yesterday, I guess. Like, I run out of things to talk about, because I do want to react to the game. And I know I spent the majority of this like just talking about stories and stuff, but it's because I'd had someone ask if I could do a story time while I do a playthrough. On one of my TikToks, I'll have to find their comment. If I can, I will give them a shout out in this video or the next, probably the next. Anyway, so for the person that wanted a story time, God help me, I'm so sorry I'm yawning. That is obscene. I'm so sorry. I'm so tired. Anyway, for the person that wanted me to do story time while playing this, here you go. So there was your story time. So to everyone else, here's the gameplay. Yeah, I'm a mess and I apologize. Oh god, so here's what annoys the hell out of me. This fucking slingshot is sitting right there, but we can't use it yet. It's like, y'all ever watch those try not to eat challenges on YouTube? Well, let me put it this way. Whenever they put items in this game that you can eventually use but you can't use right now, so you just have to stare at them, it reminds me of the try not to eat challenges. Whenever you like cave and you eat some of the guilty pleasure foods, and then they punish you, but they make you look at what the prize food was going to be, and they set it down in front of you, and then you're not allowed to eat it, and you actually have to eat like something awful. That's what this reminds me of. When they put stuff in the game you can't interact with yet because you don't have the levels, so you're just forced to look at it. Also, I'm sorry for the weird pauses. I keep having horrible bouts of yawning because it's late and my body's like begging to go to sleep. But if I don't record this right now, because if you're like go to sleep, I can't. Like, if you wonder why it took more than a week to make the next video, this is why. This is the only time I have, my sleeping time. Just because of like the fact that I need silence. And it's not just like well, just tune out the background noise. Okay, that could work, but I have a very active toddler who will get into everything. And if I'm not constantly keeping an eye on her and running around with her, she will wind up hurting herself or getting into something she shouldn't. And then, that I won't be a very good mom if I let that happen, right? Obviously, my kid comes first, the gaming comes second. I don't make any money doing this. I don't have any sponsors, obviously. I'm just a little me with my little YouTube that I started all by myself. And I'm trying desperately to grow in my manic, exhausted mom way. But anyway, the main problem, like if you're ever like, just, take all the background noise out. I can do that, but then I would also have to deal with the aftermath of my kiddo and my pets getting into everything. And yeah, I try to be a good mom and a good pet parent. And that means that things that are not super important get put on hold, like making my gaming videos, because I need quiet to do it. But hey, you're getting me now. You've got me now. You've got me in my little insomnia-riddled, anxiety, intrusive thought self here. Here today. You know what would make me laugh? If someone actually, like, invented a, coffee brand called, like, depression or insomnia. And that way, if I made a video and, like, they sponsored me, and I said this video today is sponsored by depression, I could go, no, literally, it's sponsored by Depression, the coffee company. Here you go. Here's the link. Get 25% off. Link in my bio. Like, that would make my whole year if that ever happened. I honestly, yeah. That'd be the best joke ever. Which, by the way, I don't know if any of y'all caught on, but I kind of have changed how I do intros now. I used to go, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. There's a reason why I quit doing it. Can y'all think of like a famous makeup guru who's had a lot of drama, whose intro is, "Hi, welcome back to my channel"? Like, yeah. That is why I quit using it, because it's already taken. I don't think the phrase itself is copyrighted, because the person I'm talking about also doesn't say it exactly like that, but it's very close. And I don't know, I felt inauthentic using something that someone has used for a long time. So I changed it. I don't know any other YouTuber that intros with "Hi and welcome back to this mess." If there is, dang, well, I guess there's no way that I'll ever be original. Anyway, that's a wrap on this episode. See you next time.